Welcome, Klever family. I can see there's a bunch of people here already commenting, flying in from all over the world. And it's amazing to have you here once again. And we are here to talk about, as usual, Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain, and the Klever ecosystem. And yesterday was a fantastic day for Klever as a company, as a community, and as a movement, as we launched the Klever chain testnet inside of the Klever wallet, and for you to transact, test, and stress test the network. We'll be rolling out new features as it goes, and it's pretty incredible to have been through this journey from many just unbelievable moments where we envisioned the entire Klever chain. Why do we need it? What's important for the Klever ecosystem to sustain itself, for its security, for its speed, and of course for very low transactions and easy to build tools. So that's why we have an amazing guest today. Someone who I respect immensely in the world of blockchain, who has taught me really most that I know about blockchain today. He's Klever's own blockchain guru, the director of blockchain research and development himself at Klever, Fernando Sobreira.
Hey, Misha.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
How's it going?
Doing good. Doing good. Very happy to be here with you and all the Klever community. Hope you guys can understand me. Sometimes I talk a little bit faster than usual.
Yeah, you do. But most words you say come with a lot of weight and a lot of thought and a lot of experience. And yesterday was the big launch, and we'll be coming to that, of course. And meanwhile, everybody like, share, subscribe. Do comment your questions that you have to Sobreira, and we'll get to them in the end of the show. But before we get into more on the Klever chain, let's talk a little bit more about you, Fernando. More about where do you come from? What's your background personally, as well as your professional background? How did you come to Klever?
Sure. Let's try to do it. A little short resume. So my background is in automation control engineering, where I work in several companies here in my country, and have a master degrees in power electronics. So basically, my entire career was developing softwares and hardwares for industries engineering in Brazil. And lately, about 2014, 2013, I tried to start something in biomedical engineering. So I start my PhD in that field. And about 2016 to 2017, about a year, I start to learn more about Bitcoin and took my development skills and start building some applications on Ethereum and others blockchains out there. When I also met Tron, at the time, 2017 was not even launched. They were in a testnet, starting a testnet, and where I met a lot of new people there. One of the guys that I met there was Dio, the CEO of Klever. And since then, I have worked in for a lot of blockchain companies, making some third-party applications, SDK tools, and helping some coding and develop the community. Even start SCR in Tron, and talking, helping every time helping people in the community, where I made more contact with you. At the time, they have what we call Tron Wallet. So they have released a mobile wallet, have gained some grants from Tron to develop that. And I helped them develop some of the backend systems to evolve on Tron, even to launch some nodes, how to run the nodes. And about 2019, I think, Jill talked me with Bruno to join the Klever team. So at the time, it was not Klever, the name, was Tron Wallet. The company was Get.io. And about that, I started develop some applications, the desktop wallet. And at the time, we was about to launch a new application for mobile, what we call now Klever, where we changed everything, can build a new company from scratch. Of course, using a lot of things that we learned on Tron Wallet and other applications that the team developed before. And then come with the responsibility to build a new blockchain for Klever to develop what we envision as the best for the blockchain applications. I think that's it. Anything more specific that you want to know? Hello?
I said I think it's a very beautifully and solid background, to be honest. And we at Klever are very fortunate to have you. And let's dig a little bit deeper on the inspiration that we've taken for Klever Chain from other smart contract platforms. As you said, you have extensive experience of blockchain development. Been a independent validator in SR under crypto chain on Tron since the beginning of both the testnet and then the mainnet in 2018. What lessons have you and the Klever blockchain team taken from Tron and other smart contract platforms when building Klever Chain?
Well, one of the things that we have learned is that most of the users don't understand very well the system, so need a lot of tutorials, manuals, and how to do, and videos explaining how it works, because they want to use, they like the technology, they know that the blockchain is the future, but they don't actually understand how the technology works. So we need to teach basically the community how the blockchain works, how the system and the infrastructure works. So back there, we learn a lot how to run a node, how to distribute the transactions, and what the community expect in the point of the software that they interact. So that's why our focus on Klever Wallet is the UX for the user, make it easier, and we have even on that call making crypto. Crypto is difficult, but shouldn't be. So we try to make crypto easier every day, and that's what we want with Klever Chain. Make it every time easier for the users and for the validators, node runners, and exchange to integrate, and software developers that can integrate easier with their own applications in the blockchain.
And some of the you're talking about simplifying the UX, right? It's probably I would say a problem that we have in the entire blockchain industry. How will we actually accomplish that?
So Klever Wallet has one of the best wallets in that. So make easier for any blockchain that you can use, how to select the account, how to create a new account, how to send a new transactions, in my opinion, is the one of the best in that, making very easy for any beginners or newcomers to start in crypto. So as we have, blockchain is, the technical part of the blockchain is not that easy. So we need to make easier for the users to understand. And as we have that background with Klever wallet, with a lot of blockchains, I think we have 17 blockchains, something like that, and
Yeah,
a
it
few
is
more to
17. I
come.
just counted this morning, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's a few more in background that you may not know yet that we are developing.
Yes, there's a
Integration is
few
almost
new
ready.
chains that will be rolling out over the coming weeks
Yeah.
and months.
And with that experience, like how we can show the user how to easy manipulate or operate the wallet on or transaction blockchain or using application. We intend to do that with Klever Chain. So not that Klever Chain will be easier in the technical part, but we're going to make it easier with the background that we have, providing tools for the community and for the users to evolve. For example, with the wallet, for example, with the Klever OS that's coming soon, which we integrate not only Klever blockchain, but a lot of other blockchains built in with swap functionalities and referrals and everything that you may need for your developing system. So if you're just a programmer, very good programmer that don't understand anything about blockchain, you can just plug in the Klever OS in your application and be happy, like make it easier to access any blockchain. You'll not be different with Klever blockchain. We're going to make that tools for the community and for developers to easy interact with the blockchain.
Fantastic. And you were talking about the Clever chain is not simpler in architecture. It's actually as complex as others, but it's just going to be more simple in terms of user experience and user interface and kind of onboarding, both for developers as well as users. But let's talk about the actual properties of the Clever exchange. Like in terms of, can you touch more on the properties, the architecture, the ideas that went into building the actual blockchain from scratch and fielding it, testing it, and speeds, fees, side chains, etc.
Okay, the blockchain is not everything from scratch. All the ideas most of the ideas actually are out there. So how the consensus mechanism work, how the PBFT in the consensus will work, how the message in P2P system will work, everything is out there. So we are
and
building
PPT, guys, it's practical fault
Byzantine fault tolerance.
Exactly.
So it's basically, for you to understand, it's so how the blockchain works. Once you're a validator or someone that, if you work with a proof of work, create a block, forge a block. In some blockchains they call forge. You send that block and broadcast them. And we need that the network accept that block. If you are using a proof of stake where you have a consensus mechanism that select a certain person to forge that block in that time, that person that have to build, and all others in the consensus should validate that block that you create. So it's not that we trust you, but we're gonna trust you and then check if the trust that you put in you is okay. So the block go with every transactions to other validators, and the others need to validate that transactions are actually correct, and any balance that we change is correct and everything else. And then they also sign or actually just broadcast, or else they suggest another block. They can also suggest another block. For example, in blockchains that we work with proof of work, that you don't have actually someone designated to build the next block. Anyone that build that block faster gonna win that block. But if that block is not propagated fast enough to others members in the network. Another one can build the block that you just built, and then you create a fork. So with PBFT, we try to make it faster to a full validation. For example, once you reach a long chain, that chain will be the main fork. So the one that you're gonna continue. So even if you create 2 blocks with the same nonce, with the same number, the chains can split, but then once we have a longer chain, that chain is gonna continue. With the PBFT, we send that block to all other validators in the consensus group, and they assert that the block is correct before we actually broadcast to the network. So we make it faster. We can reduce steps. For example, if you need 20 blocks for a full validation and you use PBFT, you can reduce that to 1, 2, or 3 blocks. It depends on how you implement the PBFT. In our case, we have 2 blocks. The first block is validated. In the second block, we only fall back if the consensus is stuck. So you can say with 1 block, you have the full validation.
Fascinating. And regarding it's great. As I said, it's very important for all our users and viewers to understand what we're building from the blockchain side. And in terms of speed, fees, side chains, is something you can touch upon.
So about the speed, we're gonna have 4-second block. So the delay between each block is 4 seconds, and every block on the testnet we just read 2,000 transactions in 1 block. So with 4-second block would be about 3,000 transactions per second, and we could hold that about the whole day and nothing. The system works very good. We're gonna try to make.
Let me just repeat this just so I heard it correct and everybody heard it. 3,000 transactions per second, yeah?
Yes, that's what we could read right now. What we aim is 2,000, but we already reached 3,000 in testnet. Of course, the testnet is a controlled environment, so it may change with real decentralized network where you have computers everywhere across the world. So 2,000, it's probably it will be reachable, as you can get 3,000 easy in a controlled environment. We're gonna make this test, of course, spreading the connections across the world to see how it works too. And we also intend to increase that once we make the system more stable, and then we can increase that transaction speed if the system permits it. And this is what we have about speed. And what else was the question? What else?
Fees.
Fees. So the fees are adjustable by the KFI holders, as KFI is the governance token. Right now we have on testnet 1.5 KLV for basic transaction, I believe, for most of the transactions. But this is just for testnet. This may be different in mainnet. We can even change that in the testnet. The KFI holders can vote for in a network upgrade, parameter upgrade. One of the parameters are the fees. So if most of the holders want cheaper transactions, we're gonna just put on vote and let them decide what they want. And that's about the fees. We're gonna have fees, different fees. Sidechains, 1 minute. We're gonna have different fees for each kind of transactions. What we call bandwidth fees and the KApp fees. The bandwidth fees is a basic transaction, how much it's gonna cost. And the KApp fees is any transactions related to the KApps. For example, if you're gonna create a new asset or a Klever digital asset, KDA, that's gonna cost you something, and that fee is gonna be referred as KApp fee. That KApp fee is going to be distributed for KFI holders that have KFI staked in the network. So that's how the tokenomics works. So the KFI holders, besides decide parameters of the chain, they can also receive extra rewards, basically staking their KFI that they're gonna need to vote with that and receive for the KApp applications. So for example, when we release the swap or the DeFi system on the network, there's gonna generate a KApp fee, and that KApp fee is gonna be distributed for the KFI holders. In the side chains, our vision on that is as we intend to work with enterprise blockchains, not only the public blockchain, but also mixing and bringing enterprise to the blockchain world. One of the things that we want to do is when we get a huge opportunity in a certain businesses, for example, let's say tracking tracking organic fruit. You know if where it's gonna where your organic fruit was produced, where that fruit goes through, and the temperature that it was conserved in the transit between one point A to the point B. So maybe it's a huge system that needs a lot of transactions input, even sensors and hardware that are going to develop to that to integrate in the chain. So we may need to scale horizontally by creating a sidechain for that. But that sidechain is going to integrate with the main chain. But basically, the sidechains are intended for specific applications. One of the example will be something similar to that.
And regarding just before we move on to the next point and topic, enterprise blockchains you often speak of, and inviting larger businesses and corporations into the Klever chain ecosystem. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure, that's right. So blockchain is a hot topic right now, and everyone, basically everyone in the world wants to build something on a blockchain, but they don't know what blockchain is. They don't know where to start. The developers that they know also don't know about blockchain, or they know a little bit and they don't know how to integrate with a blockchain. How are they going to put their business in the blockchain if they don't understand what that feature or what that tool can provide to the business? And this is where Klever comes. We are about more than 100 developers in Klever right now. A lot of us, I would say everybody, have worked in big companies and know a lot about the infrastructure of that company and the business logics of that big companies. And we also know a lot about blockchain in the journey that we have been through. We learn a lot by making mistakes, of course, and also making big assertions. And what we intend to do to bring enterprise to the blockchain is join the knowledge that we have about that business field and also the blockchain that we know, and provide them not only, oh, here's a blockchain infrastructure that you can use, but here's the tool that you can use for that specific point in your business. Maybe you can use the blockchain here with this kind of an NFT, for example, if you want to build entrance for some concert, we can build an NFT for that. And how we're gonna charge for that NFT, and how we're gonna get fiat money inside the blockchain and back to the company to pay for the wage that the company had. So how everything about that we know about the business, we know about the blockchain, and how we can build the tools for that business to come to the blockchain world. That's the main Klever goal with our blockchain.
Amazing. Speaking of decentralized applications, being able to build applications or Klever applications, caps on top of the Klever chain, we decided to remove smart contracts due to their vulnerability and security concerns. And we will instead have natively built-in features for dApps and dApp builders to utilize. Why did we choose this route? and what benefits does it bring to the Klever blockchain ecosystem?
Okay, one of the things that we learned with all the blockchains that we have worked is that the developers want to build something with smart contracts, but they don't have a lot of experience, and they usually make faults on certain process of the smart contract. There is no holdback. Once you deploy the contract, it's there. You can deploy another contract, of course, and switch everything to there, but it's very hard. So we see a lot of news out there about smart contract being hacked or some fault that allowed some users to withdraw a lot of money from a contract. And also we see a lot of complaints about users trying to access that smart contract. So the fees that they have to pay, the fault of the when the transaction fails with no much explanations, a contract that some scam deployed and saying that was a good contract or a good project, and the project just gone. So there's a lot of issues that we have seen in the community along this year that we have been working with blockchains. What we intend to do with Klever is built-in functions inside the blockchain. For example, you just release a token for your project. We have a key app for tokens. Then we can deploy a token. Okay, but this we can do ERC20, or even we can go with other blockchain that provides built-in tokens, for example, XRP, or even Tron 2 with ERC10s. And there's others blockchains that provide that as well. But we're gonna add some functionalities or some tools for that token. It's not just the token for itself. For example, we're gonna deploy a staking key app for the tokens. So besides the token that you just deployed for your game, you want to do a staking system that can provide some kind of rewards or APR for that user that stake that system, that they can vote in some features of your new game that you just deployed. And we're going to build all those tools for that tokens or for that project inside the blockchain. So they don't need to write a contract, hire expensive companies to make security audit on that contract to make sure everything is okay, be concerned about the fees that they're going to expend in accessing that contract. We're going to have that all settled with the key apps. So basically, you have a project, let's say a game, and you want to create a token for that game to work as a monetary value inside your game. So you just click there and deploy a new token for your system. Then you have your token. Then you want to create a staking mechanism. Then you just click there and you create a staking mechanism for that token. Then you want to create a system to vote on new features for that game. Then you can just click there, make a request for and open some dates. So the community that have staked that token can vote for that feature if they want or not, or how they want that feature. And that's another key app system. So that's how we're gonna make it easier. Instead of you have to code all the smart contract and deploy everything and be concerned about a lot of issues that you may have, we're gonna take that for Klever and develop inside the blockchain and make one click or two clicks easy steps for you to deploy the applications.
We do love one-click wonders in Klever, and it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing that we're building an entire blockchain where essentially developers and the app builders and app builders are able to utilize any simple natively built-in blockchain feature simply by clicking a button instead of, like you say, having a very long, tedious, and expensive often process of auditing their own contract. So it's a very novel and revolutionary approach, in my opinion, I think in many people's eyes out there in the community. Let's talk a little bit more about security. What makes Clever Chain secure in itself, and how do we approach user protection from scams?
So security, we use the same security when you talk about cryptography that all other blockchains use. Of course, there are some algorithms that work better, like faster, something like that, but they are all secure. So we're not that different in that aspect. Like the transactions are signed by a private key that is held by a user. Every blockchain works like that. What make it secure and Klever? I would say there's most like the smart contract thing. So how you know that that staking contract that was deployed, or if that liquidity provided system where you can put your USDs and Klever tokens are secure, or if the swap system that we're using for trading some coins, one coin to another coin, is secure. So Klever have built that, developed, test everything inside the blockchain. So I would say that's in that aspect we are secured and have a smart contract out there that you don't know where it comes from. I'm not saying that every smart contract is unsecured, but a user that don't know can just click there, open a smart contract that they don't know who deployed it, and they can get a scammer. That's the difficult part. If you go to Klever Chain, that contract will be built in. So what they can do is create a fake token that the community with KFi can put a block there. So the token, the project doesn't exist anymore, or they run away, and the KFi holders can go there and vote for that in the future, for example.
And regarding something about that we've been speaking, you were touching upon before, and right now we're in testnet, and we are in a controlled environment where we can then stress test to 3,000 transactions per second. But when we decentralize the network, essentially bring in external validators, which the KLV and the Klever community throughout the world is I can't even count how many who are kind of feverish about becoming a validator. Let's talk a little bit more about validators on the Klever chain, and what role will the validators have? Who can become a validator, and what will be required to become a validator candidate, and how do we decentralize the network?
Okay. Basically anyone can apply for a validator post. The thing is, we're gonna need some thresholds on how much KLV you hold or have delegated to you, similar to any kind of proof of stake system. Of course, we have a little difference in our system, but the basic thing is the same. You ensure that you have a lot of compromised money in that post, so we can believe that you're not going to make any harm to that network because you have a lot of tools. So we start with a self threshold. So for the user to become a validator, they have at least to have a self threshold of 1 million KLV. So that's what he have compromised to the network. If you have 1 million KLV, you can apply to be a validator. That is not burned, like you're not gonna lose that money unless you make something that you should not, you're not supposed to do. But that money will be locked for while you are a validator. If you don't want the post anymore, you can just cancel your application and you receive the 1 million back. But that is the minimal that you can apply. So right now we are working with 10 million for validator post. You don't have to have that 10 million scale fee. You can have 1 million for yourself and have 9 million from others delegated to you.
Voting or delegating it to you.
Yeah, same thing that you have on, for example, Tron, we use vote. On Polkadot, I think you use delegation. A few other blockchains, most of them I think use delegations. Some others use votes, of course. And that's what the mechanism that we choose to be a validator. So you apply with your 1 million KLV that will be frozen in that period. And you need to have 10 millions to be eligible in a validator post. doesn't need to come from you. It can have 1 million from you and 9 million delegated from any others if you open that spot for delegation. You can also say, oh, I don't want anyone to delegate to me, so I want to put the 10 millions and close the delegation pool. So no one can delegate anything to you, just you. And the rewards, of course, if you don't delegate to anyone, the rewards are all for you. If you delegate, anyone that delegates to you, you're going to receive the rewards as well as you. And the rewards are when you make your subscription as validator, you specify the commission that you're going to take. If you open the pool, for example, if you have 1 million and open the pool to reach the threshold of 10 millions, you're going to say that your commission is 10%, for example. So 10% of the total stake you take to maintain your node, to do whatever, and another 90% gonna go to the one that delegated to you. That's gonna be automatic distribution. And the user just need to claim the rewards every time. So they have a system that deposit the system in a redeem amount account, and then you click redeem and you receive that rewards in your account as KLV.
Amazing. The gas that drives the fuel that pumps the blood through the veins of the Klever chain is KLV. And let's talk a little bit more and dive deeper on what is KLV's role on Klever chain. In addition, as well, what kind of burn mechanisms will be built into the Klever chain?
So KLV is the gas, as you said, that gonna control the network in terms of every transaction is gonna need KLV to be spent to make that transaction. If you're gonna create a K-app, you're gonna have to have KLV. If you want to play with that K-app, you're gonna have to have KLV. So everything as any base token or main token in a network. And once you make a transaction, talking about the fees and everything, the burn mechanism, 50% right now is 50%, or of course the K5 holders can always apply for a new parameter and change that value. But right now it's settled to start with 50%. So every transaction, 50% of that transaction fee is gonna be burned, and 50% gonna go to the validator pool. So the validator that produced that block is going to receive 50% of that fee, and 50% will be burned. I think I lost your sound again, Misha.
I think that's a very solid and exciting news as well for our community to understand that 50% of all fees on top of using KLV will be burned. Of course, leading us to a deflationary KLV future. Let's jump to our governance token, KFi, the Klever Blockchain Finance Token. KFi's role in Klever Chain governance, and what role will the community have in developing and growing Klever Chain, especially from the perspective of being KFi holders?
Okay, just a little bit about I think I talked, but I don't know if it was very clear. Like I said, 50% right now, but for example, if the KFi holders want to change that, they can apply on a parameter change, and let's make 100% burn it. There is a block rewards, and also there is a fee reward. So right now we have amount, I think right now is settled for 15 KLV, but it may change also for the mainnet. We still adjusting that for the staking mechanism that we are going to release. And the validator produce the block and receive the block rewards and the fee rewards. The fee reward right now is settled for 50%. But let's say that KFi holders have staked there and they want to change that parameter for 100% of the fees burned. So they can just select there and let's open a pool and let the community vote for X days. And after that, if more than 50% of the holders that have staked KFi have voted to change that parameter, we're going to change. So we can easily change to 100% fees to be burned. And that's one rule of the KFi holders. Maintain that harmonic for a better community sense. So if they think 100% return for the users, let's do it. And let's say that they want to change a fee for create a token. So let's say right now we have 10,000 KLV to create a token. But if the KFi holders say, oh, it's not worth to say 10,000 KLV to create a token. It must be about 1 million KLV, I don't know. But they can do it, they can apply. Of course, they're gonna follow the community hard in that. They want the best for the community because they have invested a lot in the Klever chain. And they want the Klever chain to prosper. So they're gonna vote that in order to make better for the community.
So true community governance and true community power coming to fruition. I think it's something that's been lacking in a lot of blockchains over the years, and I'm very happy and excited to see it come to life on the Klever blockchain.
Good.
Let's move to something that you touched upon before, Klever OS. Klever OS, the operating system and the SDK, will introduce true cross-chain infrastructure to blockchain users and developers worldwide. But what will Klever OS mean to Klever Chain?
First is the easier way to get in. So if you want to develop application, it's doesn't matter if you want to do your application for desktop, for mobile, for browser extensions, whatever do you want, you can use the Klever OS as your SDK and easier point of access. So we made the Klever OS in such a way that it's easier for the developer. If they want to transfer, they just call chain X, for example, KLV chain, transfer this amount, this token. And the Klever OS is going to build the transaction, how it's supposed to go to the network, make the signature, request the cryptography key to get the key, make the signature for the transaction, and broadcast that transaction. Also list the balance of the amount of the address, list the transactions of that address. Besides other features that we have, for example, the swap, the fiat on ramp, fiat off ramp that you're gonna have as well. So Klever OS is the point entry for any developer that want to build a new application for blockchains. And as we are the developers of the Klever OS, of course, we're gonna make emphasis for Klever Chain. So it'll be easier for any developer that want to integrate with any wallet or any payment system or exchange to just use the Klever OS point to end point of the node and have fun making what the blockchain can provide to you.
Fantastic. We're already nearing our hour soon, but let's talk also a little bit more, something that you work a lot with, not just the blockchain, but also the hardware wallet. And what about the integration regarding the Klever chain to the Klever hardware wallet? How is that going, and how do you envision that?
I don't know if you have made any news about the wallet, how it's going to be live, but I can say that we're going to be soon live. Like the hard wallet is a secure device that integrate a lot of the chains that we already have on the Klever OS. Some of them are still missing, but we're going to get for every chain that you have in Klever OS, we pretend to integrate inside the Klever hardware wallet. And Klever chain, of course, will be on the top of that. So we're gonna make easy transactions with the hardware wallet connected to the blockchain, and it'll be easy to access. May I present some features of the hardware wallet right now, or let's keep it
You
for
may.
later presentations?
With pleasure, with pleasure.
So the hardware wallet security device that connects with your phone through Bluetooth or USB cable. Some may be concerned about Bluetooth integration because of security protocols and everything, but we have taken care about that as well. Made all the package that go through one another be cryptography signed and everything that is required for a very secure device. And you can access your hardware wallet through your Android wallets, through your, not only Android, but also on iOS with your mobile wallet. So Klever OS is the Klever application, Klever app, is the one that's going to control your security device. So it's going to make an easy communication to that and secure the link being cable or Bluetooth, and made the transactions to be signed on the device where you control with a click of the button if you want to accept that transaction or not. In Klever Chain, we also be integrated in the first release of the hardware.
Amazing. Felipe Rieger, who you know very well, our head of Klever Exchange, but also Klever NFTs, is working very hard on integrating Klever NFT Marketplace into the Klever Exchange and other products of on our line. What plans do we have for NFTs regarding Klever Chain and the integration of NFTs into the Klever blockchain?
NFTs would be another Klever digital asset. So not only the traditional tokens that we know, as for example the ERC20 based, is a Klever digital asset inside the wallet, as well as the NFTs or SFTs, semi-fungible tokens as well, where we have tangible metadata, for example, for a game that have some features that may change in a NFT. We call semi-fungible. So, for example, you gain more power in certain specific point in your game character. That's an NFT that can change some points, but that's your NFT. So we have plans. We have already built-in system for NFT as well, where you're gonna care not only the information about the holders and the authenticity and the ownership of the token, but also the metadata of the token can be saved in the blockchain.
How do we solve that?
What?
How that's the billion trillion
metadata?
dollar question in the entire NFT space right now. How to save the metadata not on an external centralized servers like OpenSea or others, but actually, and you just have a token on Ethereum, for instance. But how do we crack that and solve that puzzle essentially by also storing the metadata on top of the blockchain?
So the token is information inside the blockchain. And once you create a token, the creator can push the metadata to that chain, to that blockchain. Of course, we're gonna need a lot of space to save that information. If you have a lot of tokens, more space, more disk space you're gonna have. We're gonna need that. But the chain itself is work as a pruning database where some of the information can be separate from each other. So you're gonna have that, and for certain data, you can specify which data you're gonna save. If you're gonna have the full chain, you're gonna have a lot of disk space to spare to get that information. But work as the same thing with any other service that we can provide. So once you create that feature to store the metadata, we can specify which server is going to receive that metadata, and that information is going to be saved there. And if you have a full node with everything or archive node where you have all the information, so you can access that metadata. Or else you can find for endpoint that have that archive data. For example, Klever is going to hold a lot of endpoints by themselves, of course, to maintain the network stability. And we're going to have a lot of archive nodes where we store all the information that you want to save.
Well, I sure hope that everybody's appreciating all of the intricate details, knowledge, and everything that Sobreira comes with. But before we go into our community question round, I do want to hear you share a little bit more on the vision for the future for Clever Blockchain in your eyes. Where are we heading?
To the future. We're heading to the future, man. So our
A clever
goal is
future.
to, yeah, clever future. Our goal is to have as many applications as we can get, especially building that bridge between the real world or the traditional businesses that want to integrate in blockchain system and bringing that to the future with us. So that's our vision for the blockchain, to make it reachable and easier to use. Reachable, I mean reachable for everyone, not only the people that work with blockchain, but you can be using your travel applications to buy some air tickets and be using blockchain behind that without knowing that you have actually a blockchain there. And also make it easier for the users in that sense to operate with the blockchain. I lose the song again.
Something wrong with this mute button. It comes off and on. But let's jump into a few of the questions that our amazing community fielded to you, Sobreira. And let's start with the first one. Will it continue to be fast when we get millions of people? Because we will. How do you solve scalability problems to keep it fast due to high amount of transaction? Essentially, how do we keep Clever Chain scalable moving forward?
Yeah, right now not all the transactions go to the main chain. So once we release the app applications or the K apps in our case, if it's a huge K app, that K app is gonna have a side chain. So we're gonna have millions operating with, let's say, buy tickets, buy air tickets, and they want to have a side chain for that. Or do we gonna have millions using Devkins NFTs or Devkins playing games, buying artifacts inside the game? And we may have a side chain for that. And with that, we can actually horizontally scale with side chains. It's very hard to scale in the same chain because of some infrastructure problems that you may have. For example, internet speed. How are you going to transmit 1 million transactions in 1 second? It's to every node. For one node, maybe okay in the same network, maybe, but for every node in a network at the same time, and guarantee that the other validator, the next validator, have that transaction at the same time that you are in. So unless you decentralize the signatures, what kind of thing that Solana do? So it's spread the validation process between the network, and it's similar to not so Solana, but what we're trying to do is kind of a sidechain. So in that case, for the K app that gonna need that kind of the transactions, we can scale with a sidechain for that. And as we are the one building the Klever OS, the Klever wallet, and everything, we're gonna make that integration between the sidechain and the main chain very easy for the users, so they don't even know what is gonna happen. Oh, I'm operating off the sidechain, I'm operating on the main chain. For the user, it doesn't matter. They just want to use the application and make it fast. So once we see, oh, this application goes through here, so the Klever OS is going to identify that and send directly to there. And if they want to send some transactions from the sidechain to the main chain, the Klever OS will going to identify that as well and make that transaction back. And that's how we scale. Also made it easy for the users to don't care about if they are using a sidechain or not.
Amazing. Next question from the community. Will there be some feature like there is on Tron to freeze KLV for energy and pay fees with that energy as well?
No, it's not our intention to have, at least not at the moment. Depends how we evolve, but right now we don't have any plans to add energy like Tron have to pay for the transaction fees.
Then again, the fees are so incredibly low with the plan.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's not really necessary as well.
Yeah. One
And
thing about just one thing about
yeah,
the
go ahead.
sidechains and the fees. For example, for the DevKing sidechain that we may have in the near future or not, depends how it goes. The sidechain not gonna need, depends on the model that we work with. The sidechain not gonna need to operate with the KLV inside the sidechain. So it's another new thing. For example, if DevKings want to have a sidechain, because they scale a lot and need a lot of transactions, they can have that sidechain operating with the DevKings. And how you're gonna bridge that with the main chain is how we're gonna burn the KLVs. So how we're gonna use it, the KLVs to maintain that sidechain operatable. So the transactions can be low as zero if they want for that game, specific game, and actually the DevKings team can maintain that chain with zero cost, for example.
Great. And for the last question, before we head off from the community, I have one more afterwards. But currently, KLV is a TRC built token built on top of Tron. What will be the transition from Tron to Klever chain? How essentially will the swap go from one token to another? And will there be any fees involved?
So the intention is not to run away from Tron, as well not have only KLV on KLV chain. We have already expanded to other networks, for example, Ethereum and BSC. We have the KLV token there as well. And our intention is to keep like this, to have several networks where we can integrate KLV. It made it easier for the users to operate. Oh, if they want to go to PancakeSwap and make some swap there with KLV, they can go. Oh, they want to go back to KLV to do something, they just exchange to KLV on mainnet. That in how are we gonna make that easy for the users? We have the tools. Again, we have the Klever wallet. And we already have that tool inside the Klever wallet. For now, if you want to change from KLV on Tron to KLV on BSC with one click on your application, you can just select the tokens in the network that you want. You're gonna spend your token on Tron and receive on BSC. The same thing is gonna happen for mainnet. So if you want to go to the mainnet and have the features that we have in the mainnet, for example, to stake or to create an asset to play a game, you can just go to the application and select swap and make your swap back to the mainnet. Oh, now you want to go to the Tron again to use exchange A or B that haven't integrated with Klever Chain yet, or do you want to integrate with a game that you have there that you use KLV or Tron Trade, any DeFi system that we have on Tron, or even in BSC, you're gonna go to the PancakeSwap. You can just click there from mainnet to the BSC and use that liquidity provider that we have there.
I think that's a very important. I think it's a very important point what you're making as well, and I think it's a very big part of the Klever ethos, which is essentially to be more inclusive and not so much exclusive like many other projects and chains out there. Instead, to make ourselves accessible and easy to interact and transact with and upon. So I think it's a fantastic approach. And before we go. We are 1 hour in. That flew past like nothing, Sobreira. What are you most excited about right now moving forward?
So I'm very excited about the release, of course. It's a new challenge. to maintain everything working and see how it goes with millions of users operating it. But what keep me going is also have new challenges. So let's break it, let's make new things, and let's get new solutions for it. That's what keep me moving and excited about the live.
Well, those words represent a lot of who we are and what we stand for at Klever. Essentially, push your boundaries, break things, fix things, and optimize them. Sobreira, thank you so much for taking the time in your busy schedule to talk to us and inform the entire community about all details going on in your team and inside of the Klever chain moving forward as we've just released testnet. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, all the community, and all the team that have been working hard the last few months to make this release on the application also happen. And keeping going. Let's go. Let's do it.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in, whether you're here live or watching afterwards. And until next time, please do remember, your only limit is you.